Steam just made a huge announcement that tons of people were not anticipating. In fact, a lot of people were speculating that this was not ever going to happen. And then Steam was like, yo, we're just gonna drop it. So this is what we get, a fully refreshed, epic Steam Deck OLED. And this is everything that you need to know about it. First off, this is not just some minor dumping a screen on top of the existing hardware. Not at all. In fact, this might be one of the biggest overhauls for a refresh that anybody's ever done. And what I'm excited about is that Steam is taking the route more of Nintendo, where they're not remaking a device every single year where you're left in the dust if you didn't update. This allows them to take control of the software and hardware, make them work in unison, which is exactly what you get with the Steam Deck. I've tried other devices and they're just always lacking in the user experience, where Steam Deck feels like a real console. It feels like I'm supposed to be able to use it to play my games. All right, that's my 2 cents on the Steam Deck real quick, because we have to get into it. Steam Deck OLED. But first off, how much? How much does the Steam Deck OLED cost? Well, they've created a new tier system. They got rid of that stupid 64 gigabyte. Honestly, the 64 gig was fine on their launch, but I am really happy to see that they're getting rid of that. Now, the entry level is 256 gigabytes, and then it has a little blue LCD next to it, which actually means the low tier is just the original Steam Deck. No refresh, nothing. You're just getting a Steam Deck. Exactly like this one, which is still wonderful. And in fact, we'll get to a point of something that they're also doing that is very cool if you can get it in time, which is a huge savings on this exact Steam Deck, that you can get it at an insane price until they run out of them. They kept the price the same, but they just upped the minimum storage to 256, which is great. And I think they had to do this because all the other handhelds in the market kind of took advantage of Steam creating such low storage options. And so they found that they could probably make an edge by just offering much larger storage options because they couldn't price it at the same. The exciting part is the second tier, which is the new OLED 512 gigabyte for $549. So it's got the 512 SSD, same resolution screen, 800p, HDR though, and it's OLED on the display. Now everybody who's looked at this screen, although the resolution is not better, the quality is so much better, the contrast is so much better, that the images actually look better. It's really no different than the experience of going from the original Switch to the OLED Switch. Same resolution, little bit bigger screen, and just such a better quality image. And resolution doesn't have anything to do with that. You can still experience better images without more resolution. In fact, resolution doesn't have a lot to do with quality of image. Going down this list, 7.4 inch screen. They got rid of that massive bezel, which was starting to date itself approaching 2024. A lot of the other devices out there are getting rid of the bezels, and the Steam Deck has a pretty large bezel, but now you're getting a bigger screen with less of a bezel, which I'm very, very excited about. 6 nanometer APU. This is one of the biggest deals of the whole entire revamp. This is a massive update. This is not some tiny little, we dumped a screen on it and changed a few things. Everything on the inside is different. They redid everything, and they revamped and created a more efficient APU. So they're claiming that it's going to give you the same results as the old one. It will not be worse. It could only be better, is what they say. And one of the main points of that is that it's just going to be a more efficient chip. So it's not going to suck as much of the battery, which also they gave you a bigger battery. Those two things combined means that the new Steam Deck is going to be the best battery life handheld PC experience on the market, which I think is going to be a big deal. People think they want the most powerful, the best, but in reality, people just want something that works. If you're a tinkerer and you want to mess around and you want that 5 more frames per second, yes, go get a different device. But if you just want something to pick up, hit the power button on, jump into your game, and it works and looks beautiful, the Steam Deck is going to be the thing that you go to and you feel good about and you have a good experience with it. They've updated the Wi-Fi chip to Wi-Fi 6E, so now your streaming and download speeds are going to be way faster, meaning like using streaming services for gaming is going to be better. They updated the battery and made it larger. It is a 50 watt hour battery. They're claiming 3 to 12 hours. I haven't really seen anybody actually test this, so we will have to wait to see how much better the battery life is, but people just kind of messing around with it are noticing that the battery life does seem to be significantly better, and it should be. And the carrying case looks wonderful. It's like a dual system, which I love because I hate big, bulky carrying cases that take up all the space in my bag. In fact, I don't even normally use them. I just wrap it in my clothes that I'm packing to go somewhere so that it doesn't take up any extra space. But this new case, I think I might actually use because it's very minimal. So that's just the list. But what actually matters here? What actually matters here is the obvious. The screen. It's going to be so much nicer. There's not much I can say about having a bigger screen of higher quality. It's kind of obvious. The current screen on the Steam Deck is just good enough. It is not the best screen. Most of the other handhelds on the market now have significantly better screens, and it is a little bit noticeable, which is really lacking the Steam Deck behind, which is why I think they really felt the need to push out a revamp in 2023 for Christmas time, all the holidays, and get the new refreshed one next to all these other devices on the market so that they don't get left behind. This one is the most prevalent. It's literally in the name, Steam Deck OLED. But I think that does a little injustice because they did a complete rehaul. There is not one piece inside the Steam Deck that is the same. They recreated all of the chips, simplified everything, created a far more efficient Steam Deck. They also included faster RAM in the system. So technically, this Steam Deck will perform a little bit better. We have been seeing that. People have been doing tests where they are getting a few more frames, which can actually be a huge game changer because as of recently, some of the AAA games coming out, the Steam Deck is struggling to play it at the 30 frames per second. But I think just this one little update is going to push it over the edge where you're going to be able to keep that 30 frames per second, which is exactly what Steam needs to do because they just need this thing to last a few years at most until they feel that there is hardware that is good enough to create the Steam Deck 2, which right now they don't feel it exists. So with the new screen, the new APU that's been shrunk down, it's more efficient, and the faster RAM, the bigger battery, and all of this combined together makes for a less power-hungry, faster, or equal to device. It's just like so much better. On the website right here, it says available November 16 at 10 a.m. PST, which is tomorrow. And I think I'm going to order one because I do find myself wanting a better screen. And then all the other things that they included on it, I do believe is actually going to make the experience of the Steam Deck noticeably better. Okay, I guess I forgot to say that the top tier of the Steam Deck at $649 is now 1 terabyte. Good job, Steam. As it should be coming into 2024. It should at least be 1 terabyte. I should also mention that they have actually taken the time to make this device easier to repair. I haven't seen anyone explain or show why, but they say that replacing the screen is going to be much easier. In fact, I think the old one, you had to take everything apart and out just to get the screen out. And now they're claiming that you don't have to do that. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but hey, we'll take whatever that means. If it's easier, thank you. They also replaced all the screws on the back. Like, these screws are just going into plastic. So people who were taking them in and out were stripping them and ruining them. Now they're threaded into metal, and they're using the nicer upgraded like hex heads. Just overall nicer. Moving down on the page, there is a limited edition, which I'm really torn if I want to try to get it. Maybe it's more money just to have a different color. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. It's tomorrow about this time. So in 24 hours, I need to figure out if I want to try to buy one of those. The thing is, they're going to be limited, and if you get one, that's just lucky. You just lucked out that when you hit refresh and you hit buy, that everything through the interwebs connected and worked. Because for most of us, everything's just going to be breaking, and you're going to have to hit refresh and it's not going to work, and it's going to be chaos. If you get the limited edition, you just get lucky, and good for you. Man, I think I might try. Oh, I forgot a detail, guys. So you know how the old Steam Decks had the reflective screen and then the top end had the matte screen? They're still doing that. So now the first and the second tier have the glossy screen, which in my opinion is actually a better image experience, unless you play in sunlight all the time, in which case that kind of defeats the purpose. Then it's just impossible to see your screen. And that's when the anti-glare etched glass can be helpful, but it absolutely diffuses the color and the dark blacks in the image, which takes a lot away from the OLED. So I'm not really inclined to want to get that one, but I'm assuming the limited edition has that because it's their premium screen, which is another reason that maybe I don't want that. If you don't want to spend $550 or $650 and you're like, I don't really care to have the new fancy OLED screen, because let me be very real with you. The Steam Deck, this original device, there's nothing wrong with it. It's wonderful. I love the feel. It's so comfortable. Even the noises are nice. And everything about it works flawlessly. And now, if you can get it before they run out, they're just selling off the 64 gig and 512 gigabyte versions because they're not part of the lineup anymore. And you can pick it up for $359. You can get a brand new Steam Deck for $359. And it's not like you're getting the old one. They still sell this one. It's just they're not going to sell the 64 gig version anymore. And it's probably would be more expensive for them to make an assembly line of people to take it all apart, pull out that 64 gig and swap it in with a 256. However, you can do that. $350, and then you can buy a micro SD card, boom, in there, and then you literally have exactly what I've been using, and I've had no issues at all with it. It's wonderful. Such a good deal. $350 beats out, it's like half the cost of all the other options on the market. Again, this is a limited time. They will run out of these and then they're gone forever. And then you have to buy the $400 one, which again, the $400 one with the 256 gigabyte is still an amazing deal, and no one can compete with that. I think the real bargain here is picking up one of those 64 gigs at $350. You're just not going to get any type of PC at this level for $350. Okay. That's the Steam Deck refresh OLED coming out tomorrow. I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna pull the trigger. I think I'm gonna get one. I was very set on getting the Legion Go, and then Steam made this announcement, and I think I'm gonna wait. The screen was kind of the major selling point of the Legion Go for me, but I think it's just going to be too big. I still want the Legion Go, but I want it to be a little bit thinner. Something that no one else is doing is this. The Steam Deck is so much thinner than the other handheld PCs. They're so chunky and fat that it makes it a little uncomfortable. It's being a bit nitpicky because they are still pretty epic, but out of everything right now, I think it's the Legion Go and the Steam Deck OLED. Those are the only two options that matter. Were you guys as surprised as I was to hear this announcement and see how quickly they just dropped this information and said, yo, it's coming and it's in a week? The other thing is that they're promising that the experience of buying is not going to be as hectic and crazy and terrible as it was the first time. They claim that they anticipate they will have enough devices for everybody. We'll see about that. Steam Deck OLED. I'm super excited about it. I'd love to hear what you think about it in the comments. Do you want the old one? If you have the old one, are you gonna upgrade to the new one? Am I hyping it up? Is this super revamp of every single element inside the case not as big of a deal as I think? Do you like this model kind of following in the steps of Nintendo? Or do you wish that they would just push out a new device every year? I mean, even saying that, I'm like, no, that's just so dumb. But maybe not. Maybe that would be a better way. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe, hit that little thumbs up, hit the little bell. Let's hang out more. Let's do this. Later.